Hey, John, the Angels' favorite band is Foreigner. Do you want to know why?
Why's that?
Because they're as cold as ice. They're willing to sacrifice our fandom. Man, another shutout, another loss. I guess we have to talk about it. And we'll also talk about David Fletcher and check in on his return. Plus, we'll talk about why a slower start for Shohei Ohtani is actually a good thing for the Angels. You're locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. If you're listening on the audio side, you can rate and review the pod. And if you're watching on the video side, you can subscribe and click the bell on YouTube to make sure that you get all of the updated episodes. And Locked On Angels is brought to you by Blue Nile. This Mother's Day, give mom something she'll treasure forever with fine jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off a $500 purchase.
That's
Use
you.
the code Locked On at checkout.
Hey, thanks for joining us for this edition of Locked On Angels. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
We are the Frisch Brothers, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. We
That's
appreciate you tuning in and watching us on YouTube or listening on the podcast side. If you have not done so already, you can give the show a follow at Locked On Angels. And, of course, you can reach Mike and I at Super Halo Bros. We would love to have your follow and your interactions online on social media. We always appreciate interacting with our listeners. Now, to get into this episode, I'm cold, Mike. It's freezing in here. What?
Brr.
Brr. Oh, no, that's just the Angels bats. My bad.
Oh, my
bad.
gosh. This
Brutal.
is terrible. These are the games where I just hate being a fan. And then I realized, we actually have to talk about it with other fans. So maybe this could be like therapy. Tell me how that made you feel,
Yes,
Jonathan.
Well, made me feel very upset to watch this game because,
Ugh.
man, you have a pitching performance like Noah Syndergaard.
Yeah.
And you have a tough pitching performance from Michael Wacha, who is having a resurgence this season so far.
Right.
And he comes out of the game early, and you think that there's hope. But there was no hope, unfortunately. This was not Star Wars: A New Hope. Happy Star Wars Day, by the way. Got it in there.
That was a good tie-in. Look at you.
Let's talk about some of the things that happened before the game.
Yeah.
We talked about this yesterday on the show, and it happened yesterday. Joe Adell was sent back to AAA. In his place, Jose Rojas has come up. Everyone knows I'm a fan favorite of Jose Rojas. But Joe
Said
Adell,
with sarcasm.
Joe Adell is going to get some seasoning in AAA, and I think that it is the exact right move. Look, Joe Adell, let's all calm ourselves. Joe Adell is 23 years old. It feels like he's been around forever because he came up in the pandemic season, which felt like years ago.
Yep.
But surprise, surprise, it's only been 2 years since 2020, people. So that much time has not passed, actually. But Joe Adell could use some seasoning in AAA. He'll get all the reps that he needs in left field. And, of course, build that confidence. We know that Joe has the swagger, right? We know that when he is firing on all cylinders, is a guy to watch out for. We know that in 2021, we all were saying, when's Joe coming up? When's he coming up? And that's because he was raking in AAA. Everyone was asking the question, when are the Angels going to call this guy up? And they finally made some room for him later in the season. And he came up and performed very well until he got hurt.
Yep.
So I just think that Joe just needs some time in AAA. In his place, we got Jose Rojas, like I mentioned. Then Austin Warren takes a stray baseball to the nose.
Yeah.
And now he's on the IL. So that's
poor guy.
Unfortunate. Like,
he was signing autographs, and I guess it was a stray foul ball, and it just like hit him across the nose. So talk about no hope.
Who
like,
on the Red Sox? Who on the Red Sox is responsible for this? That's right.
Yes, it's got to be somebody on the Sox. Sure.
Elvis Peguero is back in his place, and we actually saw him in the game yesterday. Flamethrower, man. And I know he gave up the home run to JD Martinez, but giving up a home run to JD Martinez, you can wear that with a badge of honor because he does that to everybody.
He does. Yeah. He's good.
Shohei Ohtani is scheduled to pitch on Thursday, weather permitting. We know it's a little stormy over there in Red Sox country. can we just get these guys home, please? Can we get them back
please
to beat up on the Nationals this weekend? We
Warm
need that
them up.
ASAP. And then, of course, Gooby was still down for the count. So Bobby V sat in with Matty V. And there was not really a mention, at least that I didn't catch, about Bobby V's time as the manager of the Red Sox. But the less said about that, the better, because that was a terrible season. I think I had something like 69 wins that season. So they probably all wanted to keep that in the past, including Bobby V.
Feels like a Bobby V managerial season.
So Mike, tell us about this game. Tell us, let's break it down here and let's discuss. Go for it.
You mentioned Michael Wacha, and he is having a great resurgence this season. He was on cruise control, 5 2/3, 3 hits, only 60 pitches. And when they took him out, I actually felt like that was a great move for us. It felt like a Joe Madden April pitching change, right? For the Sox. So they take him out, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe we can actually hit the bullpen. He left the game. It was 2-0, but we didn't really do much at all. Now, Noah Syndergaard, he had an incredible start, and it was a quality start. 7 innings, 8 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks, and something that we've been advocating for, 100 pitches.
Right.
We actually got to 100 pitches, which is a really, really great thing, but we just didn't give them any sort of offense at all. Even when we got runners on, we were hitting into double plays, and the only highlights for the Angels were on the defensive side, Squid, Andrew Velazquez, reminding Red Sox fans of Nomar Garciaparra at shortstop. He had a couple of great plays over there. And can we just give it up for Jared Walsh playing ballet at first base? That guy, he's flexible. He can stretch.
Every time he stretches, my wife says, "This is why you got to get to yoga with me." And I'm like, "Come on, Jared, stop giving her a reason to say that."
Are you going to play first base for the Angels, John? This is news to me.
Yeah, I might have to if the bats don't heat up. Listen, you made a good comparison of Andrew Velazquez to Nomar Garciaparra. Somebody on Twitter, Fletch was safe. One of my favorite Twitter follows. On there. I believe they said that Velazquez is reminding them of Simba, of Andrelton Simmons. A young Simba. Remember, Simba did not have a good bat with the Braves.
You're right.
But he was making spectacular plays a la Andrew Velazquez. And then once we traded for Simba, his bat started to come around year after year after year. And then there was a time where I can remember him hitting like 291. And really coming in clutch, even batting cleanup at times. So I hope that whatever they unlocked in Andrelton Simmons can translate to Andrew Velazquez, and in his future, his bat will come around. But I am more than okay with his defense, and having that hole, because there's really no reason why you have to rely on his bat. In fact, he even took a walk against Michael Wacha.
Heyo.
And so that was great to see. But you got Trout and Ohtani and Rendon and Walsh. You guys know the list. And there's just no reason for these bats to be so cold. One thing that was a little bit frustrating was how efficient they were letting Michael Wacha be. They swung at the first pitch. I don't know if the scouting report was swing at that fastball in the first pitch, because that seemed to be the strategy until they finally backed off of that. But man, they just let him cruise. And to be fair, they let Noah Syndergaard cruise as well. But when Wacha is just dealing like that, I know that he got into a little bit of trouble in the middle innings there. We were not able to score. They really got to go and make these pitchers get into deep counts. We got to see more of those 3-1, 3-2 counts that the Angels can take advantage of. I think that's going to be really important. So let's talk about today's game. Reed Detmers versus Garrett Whitlock, who is 1-1 with a 0.54 ERA. He's pitched in 6 games. Well, and I think it has to do with this. He's pitched in 6 games. He's had 2 starts. So he's not started all of those games. He's going to get his 3rd one today. Reed Detmers' last start, it was a win in the books. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 4 Ks. That sounds like a winning formula, but you can't win without offense.
Right. So got to hit.
We got to hit, and we got to turn those bats on. I hope that there's a conversation in the locker room either last night or today about those bats coming around again and making those pitchers work those counts. The Angels sit at 15-10, so we're still 5 games above 500, and I feel good. I mean, if we can take these next 2 games, we can win the series, come home, and look strong against the Nationals. I realize the Angels have not had a day off in their they won't have one until something like May 12th.
Yeah, next
so that
Thursday.
Might have everything to do with it. So
yeah,
let's get these guys home and let's get a win today and tomorrow and take 2 out of 3 in this Red Sox series.
Coming up on Locked On Angels, we'll tell you why a slower start for Shohei Ohtani is actually a good thing for the Angels. But first, Locked On Angels is brought to you by Blue Nile. Are you looking for a gift for that special someone in your life? Blue Nile is here to help you. BlueNile.com is the original online jeweler. Since 1999, they've helped millions
and millions
of couples create their perfect engagement ring. Blue Nile is committed to ensuring that the highest ethical standards are observed when sourcing diamonds and jewelry. They have a diamond price guarantee. Contact Blue Nile to compare a competitor's diamond against one of their own. And in most cases, they can meet or beat that price. And if it's not perfect, no problem. 100% satisfaction guarantee. You can shop stress-free with guaranteed free shipping and returns. And if you need the special purchase fast, in most cases, Blue Nile can deliver overnight. And this Mother's Day, give mom or the mother of your kids something she'll treasure forever with fine jewelry from BlueNile.com. Locked On Angel listeners, they get $50 off a $500 purchase. This is a podcast exclusive, only good through Mother's Day. So use the Locked On code at checkout. That's Locked On at checkout. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in a discreet package so that it won't give away what you purchased for mom or the mother of your kids. So you can shop, again, stress-free and find your forever piece at BlueNile.com today. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. And now for your next listen, check out the Locked On Now podcast. You get recaps of MLB games with analysis from local experts taking fans through the season like no other network. And it's free and available wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Mike, I'm going to do it.
What are you going to do?
Ready for this?
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's talk about Fletch, baby.
Oh.
Let's talk about David Fletcher.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Let's talk about him. How's he doing so far? Tell us.
Well, Fletch came back. His first game looked good. 2 doubles, makes an immediate impact, right? But he didn't play too many games before he actually went down, so some of his numbers were really low. So right now, his current average has been raised from 077 to 160. I guess that's good, right? His OPS is 542. Right. Here's what we really need to pay attention to is his defense. Now, I find it interesting that he's played 6 games at short and 5 games at second base. And so he's really bouncing around. And then last night's game, they plopped him in left field for a couple of innings as well. And so the great thing, no errors. He's doing great in the field. And the stats show that he's actually been better at short than second. So far in the minimal amount of games that he's played, he already has 2 defensive runs saved at short, 0 at second base as of last night's ball game. And so I think he's still finding his groove. I think that we're going to find that David Fletcher and that David Fletcher offense and defense will come with some more games played. Here's what I really think is the good news, John. I did an episode when you were sick on what happens to Andrew Velazquez when Fletch comes back. And I advocated that he should stay in the lineup and play short and he should remain with the big club. And they did that. So I was really excited because his defense, as we mentioned, is really strong. And I think he's a great backup to Fletch. And I think he's a perfect balance for your boy, Tyler Wade. I know you love Tyler Wade. And we were excited when Wade was signed by the Angels in the offseason. I don't think we expected or anticipated Andrew Velazquez and his defense.
Right.
That was actually, I think, a pleasant surprise. And so here's my question to you. Who would you rather see play next to Fletch? Okay. Would you rather see Wade or would you rather see Velazquez? And you're going to need to tell me why and put that in a complete sentence, please.
Who is Tyler Wade? Can I answer it like that, like Jeopardy? Hey, listen, so I think that I really enjoy Tyler Wade playing shortstop. He has proven to have a great glove and defensively is just very defensive-minded when he's out there. He is a perfect fit for shortstop. Now, that's not to take anything away from Andrew Velazquez because, like I said, he's turning into an Andrelton Simmons out there. Yeah. And when these games of the Angels are shutouts and we're not getting any run support, the highlight of the game is Andrew Velazquez and his defense.
Right.
So all of that to say, I do enjoy Tyler Wade because he is very capable. But I think that the caveat to having Wade out there is that you have his bat in the lineup. And they call him Captain Chaos all the time because he causes so much chaos on the base paths. He can bunt for a single. He can bunt to get the runner over. And more often than not, he'll beat out that throw to first base because he's so darn fast. And he's a threat on the base paths as well. And to have that chaos to get inside the mind of the opposing pitcher, which is probably something that the Angels have needed in order to create some chaos. And maybe that will help the bats out a little bit and get them from being so cold.
That's a good point.
I think that Tyler Wade is the perfect guy for that. And his fielding percentage at shortstop so far and at second by extension has been impeccable. Yeah. Tyler Wade is a defensive shortstop and a great defensive second baseman. And he can hit. He's got a little bit of pop. And he also, like I said, can bunt to get on base. And that speed on the base pass, when you see him going from first to third or first to home on a hit that you don't expect him to do so, he is just causing so much chaos for the other team that it can cause them to make a mistake. So I really like Tyler Wade in this lineup. And like I said, Velazquez, phenomenal shortstop. But if you had to pair him up with David Fletcher, I would take Tyler Wade. What do you say?
I will admit that you are a little bit correct. And what I mean by that is
you just have to pull the older brother card.
I'm going to right now. I'm going to beat you up after this is over. Games like last night are games where Tyler Wade is necessary. But in a regularly scheduled life of an Angel player, our offense is actually doing well. Mike Trout's hitting, Ohtani's hitting. Those guys are coming through. Rendon's hitting, right? We're scoring 4 or 5 runs a game.
Right.
That's when we need defense. And I love 100%. Velazquez and his flashiness on defense. And I don't think that it's him showing off. I think that it's him getting to balls that Wade and maybe even Fletcher can't get to. He had a great diving stop in last night's game and got that throw to first base.
That was awesome.
With a little help from Jared Walsh, right?
Yeah.
And so I really think that I would rather have someone on the defensive side saving runs than having someone on the offensive side adding runs. And I think that guy is Andrew Velazquez. So I submit that to you, Jonathan.
Well, we that was a good discussion because we both have those differing opinions. If you want to get in on this conversation or any conversation, make sure you give us a call on our voicemail line, 714-409-6396. You can call anytime, leave us a voicemail. This will also be in the episode description. So if you're listening on the audio side, you can catch the number there and have that with you. Put us in your contacts. Put us on speed dial, huh? How about that?
Hey, that'd be great.
That'd be great. We want to hear from you. So get in our voicemail and let us know what you think. Andrew Velazquez or Tyler Wade at shortstop.
Locked On Angels is brought to you by Built Bar. It's my favorite, and it's John's favorite, and it's John's father-in-law's favorite. It's a low-calorie, high-protein bar, good for replacing candy bars. And the good news is you don't have to feel bad about eating one because they're better tasting than candy bars and better for you. A typical candy bar can be between 200 to 300 calories, but most Built Bars are 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. And at Built Bar, they're all about taste. They make it taste delicious first, and then they figure out how to make it taste healthy and be healthy for you. Built Bar flavors include mint brownie, coconut almond, and all new for this month, white chocolate, cookies, and cream. Woo. They are delicious, and they have new flavors coming out all the time. And if you haven't tried the Puffs, I would encourage you to try the Puffs. They're one of the best tasting Built Bars. They are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy and they're marshmallowy. And they're not just a protein bar. They're actually a treat. You could have it for dessert after dinner. You could have it for dessert after lunch if you want. They're covered in 100% real chocolate. The Puffs are actually a fan favorite. They get purchased more than the bars. And they have some incredible flavors: cinnamon churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. And if you can't decide between bars or Puffs, try the Mix Box. You get 12 flavors with a mix of bars and Puffs. So go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCK15 and get 15% off your order. Use the promo code LOCK15, get 15% off at Built.com. Get yourself a Built Bar today.
All right, Mike. Last segment for the day. We want to talk about this thought. Is Shohei Ohtani's slow start to 2022 actually a good thing?
Let's go.
What do you think?
Well, can we share some offense and maybe some pitching stats to just set the conversation?
I'm glad you asked me. I actually have some of those.
You throw some offensive stats out there.
All right, let's talk about his offense so far. He's sitting around 240 as of today. He's got 4 home runs, 12 RBIs, and his on-base plus slugging is sitting at 678.
Yeah.
When last year's OPS was at 956. So much room to improve for Shohei Ohtani. What about the pitching side?
On the pitching side, he's 2-2, 4.19 ERA. Here's where he's been crushing it: 30 strikeouts in 19 1/3 innings.
Yeah.
And so we actually, on Locked On Angels, we're convinced that a slower start is actually a benefit to the Angels. And we're going to give you 4 reasons why. So I'm going to start with reason number 1. I think, John, that a slower start for Shohei Ohtani is good for the Angels because it's good for contract negotiations.
Okay.
Because we've all heard the ridiculous numbers that have been shared. $1 billion for Shohei over 1 billion years, right? I know that actual numbers that have been shared is like 40 million a year. And that's like Max Scherzer territory, right? And so my question to you would be, what do you think a reasonable offer to Shohei Ohtani would be?
I think that if you get him for the next 7 years and get those prime years of Shohei, I think that that would be a great deal for both sides. And we know that he's probably not going to do this forever.
Yeah.
But I should say at the level that he's doing it now.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
And,
I know what you meant.
And so at the end of that contract, Shohei will still have options. He'll still have the ability to pitch somewhere or DH somewhere. And both sides can kind of reassess their needs and see where does Shohei want to be? Do the Angels want him to stay again? So I think a 7-year deal would be reasonable. And as far as the millions go, I mean, gosh, you got to think about he's going to get something at least over 300.
You think so?
Yeah. Even if it wasn't a 10-year deal, I think that he would still get a high price just because of his ability to do both things. It's almost like you take a star DH like a JD Martinez, who took us deep the other night, and combine that with the numbers of a star pitcher and find some middle ground there. And what would you offer one guy and the other guy, and then combine that to get your Shohei number, really, because that's kind of what it comes down to. But what do you think? That's mine. 7 years, somewhere over 300. What do you think?
I like the 7 years. I think, honestly, it'll be around 250, and here's why. I think it'll be 150 for the pitcher and 100 million for the hitter. Because I think that the hitter we're seeing this year is the hitter who Shohei has been in the last few years outside of his MVP year last year.
Sure.
I think he's going to be the 280, 20 to 30 home run guy. And I think that guy is a $100 million guy or maybe $110 million guy. So I think 7 years actually sounds pretty good. I was going to lean more in 10, but you talked me into 7. And I think that 250, it might be around 250. I think that that's actually a really great contract for him, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to the $300 million mark. But I would say I wouldn't be surprised if it was about 7 years and $250 million.
If the Angels want to be competitive in that regard, then they're going to have to be in that $300 million range, because everybody's going to come sniffing for Ohtani come contract time. If they don't get a deal done before then I think that's what it's going to take. Let me give you a second reason why it's okay for Shohei to have a slow start. It's okay for Shohei because he's got a drive to get better. We know that anytime Shohei has a hole in his game, whether it's the pitching side or the batting side, he will work on it. He hasn't taken a day off for pitching yet. And he always works to get better. And I appreciate that Joe Madden has allowed Shohei to kind of dictate his schedule, even going back to last season. They let Shohei be Shohei. There wasn't restrictions around pitching. There wasn't how, he's going to take a day off after pitching. He's not going to be in the lineup. I know he took that couple days off. He took a day off from hitting twice so far. And one was because he was having that groin tightness. But I also know that Shohei knows his body best, and that allows him to perform at his peak. There was a ridiculous article floating around. We actually tweeted this on Locked On Angels Twitter account from a Chicago sports writer who said that it was ridiculous and it was not good for the game that Shohei didn't meet with the press before the game. And I retweeted it and said how ridiculous that was. And that was a sentiment shared among all of Twitter. I even saw an Astros writer say how ridiculous that statement was from that Chicago writer. I know, they hate us.
Yeah.
And the thing is Shohei has a routine, and before the game, let the man have his routine. And he gives plenty of time to the media after the game. So I don't know what that was about. I thought it was a little bit silly. And everyone who said that this take was ridiculous was, somebody was upset that they didn't get to talk to Shohei before a game.
Yeah.
So I say all that because Shohei has a very thorough rhythmic routine that he sticks to. And we know he knows his body best. And so I think that's a good second reason why this slow start is okay. How about a third reason?
Here's reason number 3. It's good because it hasn't really hurt the Angels so far this season, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we've needed him to come through, especially in last night's game, but it hasn't hurt us to the point where we're really struggling. We're near the top in runs scored, and our pitching staff is actually looking really strong. And I'm hopeful today that Shohei figures it out. Maybe this weekend, Shohei figures it out.
Yeah.
But it hasn't necessarily slowed us down. To be 15-10 before tonight's game is actually, I think, a really great start for the Angels.
Totally.
With Shohei and his slow start. What about reason number 4, John?
Reason number 4, it's good because we all expect him to bust out here pretty soon.
Oh, heck yeah.
Do you remember right before the All-Star game, probably that June, he had that incredible June.
Yes.
And he was just tearing it up, hitting home runs in bunches, like multi-home run games before the All-Star break. That was huge. And so I think that once he comes around, and the same could be said for some of these other guys like Walsh and Rendon, once those guys come around and the offense is firing on all cylinders and Ohtani is leading that charge, paired up with Mike Trout, who's already hitting very, very well, and then Taylor Ward has been a surprise. Man, if this offense can just heat up and get out of the dang East where it's freezing out there
freezing
right now.
cold.
It's freezing their bats too.
Yeah.
This is going to be something special. And I think that's why we hold on to the hope for this season. I know that losing a game here and there is frustrating. Being shut out is frustrating. But let's remember, we've come up against some tough pitching when we did get shut out in Dylan Cease and Michael Wacha, who again is having a career resurgence out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Ohtani, those are the 4 reasons why Mike and I think that it's okay for Shohei to get off to a slow start, because he's eventually going to come around and we are all going to love it.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. And now make your second listen, the Locked On MLB podcast, hosted by Paul Francis Sullivan. He brings his unique perspective on the major leagues past and present, and it's free and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, don't forget to give us a follow on Twitter at Locked On Angels. You can also follow the Super Halo Bros at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. Find us on YouTube. Just search Locked On Angels and you'll find our channel. Give us a subscribe. Make sure to thumbs up those videos and turn on that bell so that you get notified whenever we drop a new episode. We really appreciate it. Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow?
All right, tomorrow on Locked On Angels, there's been a lot of talk about the baseball this season, like the actual baseball and how soft it is. And John and I are going to tell you why that's actually a good thing for our Halos.
There we go. All right, until tomorrow's conversation, thanks for being here. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
And we'll see you right here tomorrow on Locked On Angels.